Do you wanna cook? Today I will show you traditional Orthodox Easter bread called kulich. People from our nationality or our country who are not in the tradition of Russian Orthodox Church would call it like a sweet bread or something like that. Could be called cake with a raisin, but make sure you have enough time to bake it, because the difference between normal bread dough, that this would be very sweet and it would have so much butter that it would take much more time for yeast to work. Let's cook. In advance, you need to find a mold for baking. Traditionally, kulich mold should be high and thin, so it would be higher than wider in the end. In the time, then it was impossible to buy any form of mold that you like. My grandma used to use cans from meat, clean, and cover it with a baking paper inside. Then you need to soak raisin with a drinking water overnight, or at least for several hours. You will need divide yolks from whites of 5 eggs. Whites you will make fluffy with a mixer. All other ingredients we will mix in a huge bowl, mainly with hand whisk. First we will need to activate the yeast. It is not necessary, but I was doing that and it always working, so I don't know why should I change it. We will take 200 grams of whole milk, warm it up a bit in the microwave and add 30 grams of sweet condensed milk, or you can exchange it with 2 teaspoons of sugar. The temperature of milk should be warm but not very high, not to kill yeast. Dissolve condensed milk or sugar in the milk. Put their yeast. While it's activating, we will mix 5 yolks, 150 grams of sour cream, 150 grams of sugar, we will add 100 grams of melted but not hot butter, 700 grams of white wheat flour, we need 1 teaspoon, about 4 to 5 grams of salt. Add a bit of vanilla extract and milk with yeast. Mix it all together. While you're mixing, the mixer should make your whites fluffy. a plastic wrap or with a wet kitchen towel and leave it at the room temperature. It might take about 2 to 4 hours for dough to rise for the first time. When it rises, you need to dry the raisin and make sure that there is no spoiled raisin or there is no kind of trash in your raisins. Put it on a paper towel. You might need several and let it dry a bit. When the dough rises, add the raisin and mix it all together to spread the raisin evenly in the dough as you can. When you mix dough with the raisin, make sure you are not breaking gluten. Make it gently. Fill in the mold with your dough to make sure there is enough space for dough to rise, so you fill only about 1/3 of a mold. With that amount of dough, you will need about 6 medium-sized molds, around 5 inches diameters and 6 to 7 inches height. Cover and wait until the dough rises at least 2 times in size. It might take from 2 to 4 hours. Again, you should use all the dough at once. If you leave it more, it will lose sweetness. Then preheat the oven 390 degrees Fahrenheit or about 175 degrees Celsius. Put the molds into the oven and bake from 40 to 60 minutes until it's baked. The smaller form you have, the smaller amount of time you will need to bake the kulich. It has to be at least 25 minutes if it's the size of mug, and an hour if it's a bit bigger than my forms. Because the dough is very sweet, it might have very brown crust very early. To avoid burning, you can cover your molds with some baking paper in 30 minutes after you start baking, or you can cover it right in the beginning. But do not open the oven in the middle of first 30 minutes of baking. It can fall inside. Normally, I would cook it at the night and then in the morning cover it with a glaze. The idea is not to put the glaze on a hot bread because it will melt. For glaze, I use whites and sugar. The main idea of this glaze is to kind of boil whites with hot sugar. We will need 2 whites and about 200 or 250 grams of sugar. More sugar you choose, more crusty the glaze would be in the end when it dries. First, we need to boil a syrup until it's cooked. If you use a thermometer, it should be 115 degrees Celsius. If you do not, just boil it slowly on a very low heat, not to make it caramelized, like not to be brownish. The sugar syrup stopped making huge foam while boiling. It's kinda ready. Whites you need to mix until fluffy and very dense. Then slowly pour the syrup into the whites. Keep mixing for several minutes until it's glaze. Then put the glaze on the top of kulich and sprinkle some sugary frosting which you can buy in any supermarket. Just choose what you like, or you can skip it. Do not put anything. So, the kulich is ready. We can see this yellowish texture with the pores. Happy Easter! Bon appetit!